Hi guys. Now this is the Forester finally, right? A lot of you asked me to review this car. Sorry it took a while, and I've came back to the same location. And every time I film here, right, because it's rather secluded, there's no traffic. It's just a dead end road. Every time I film here, there are a lot of mosquitoes. So I finally found a deterrence. So I hope you don't mind. I light a cigarette so that when I was filming, no worry, I won't bring the cigarette in. Anyway, that's the Forester. This is the 2-liter IP. I don't know what do they have S and what. All I know is that this guy looks pretty high spec. It has the projector headlamps. It has the LED daytime running lights. It has some sporty looking grills and all that. So this guy looks pretty alright from outside. What are the sizes of the tires? These look really off-road tires. 17 inch rims, so on really tall profile SUV tires. Okay, so I think the Forester needs not a lot of introduction. Many of you have seen this car on the road, right? And let's go for a walk around. For those of you who just arrived Earth from Mars, if you haven't seen the Forester, here's how it looked like. Now, I wouldn't say this car is a beautiful car. It is not a beautiful car. When you park this car next to a Peugeot 3008 or a Mazda CX-5 or even the new Honda CR-V. Okay, this is somewhat along the line of the Honda CR-V. It looks utilitarian. It's not those curvy, swooshy type of design. But is it ugly? No. It is distinctive, I would say. Certain cars, you look at it, right? You cannot judge whether it's good looking or bad looking. Cars like the MU-X, it's just so, you just go like, okay lor, like that, right? But this guy here, there are people who like its rugged looks, its angry kind of face. And I think this round, the bumpers really does look good compared to the previous few iterations. This car is not new. This car has been around for quite some time. And you'll see it later when we go into its interior. Okay? And as for the price, seriously, I have no idea what Subaru Malaysia is doing with their pricing, because the other day they just had the XV, the launch of the XV, the heavily facelifted XV. Of course, they call it the all-new XV. I mean, we give them that because the front and back is different, the interiors are different as well. The thing is the XV has a listed retail price of 150 over 1,000. And that car was supposed to sit below this. But this car, if you go to a Subaru dealership now, they can give you on the road for 140 plus. So I have no idea what prices they are selling. Just don't take their retail price word for word for it, because they fluctuate their prices like mad, and I have no idea what price are they currently selling. Because if the Forester can be had for 140 flat, with GST 6%, with insurance and all that in, right? And then the XV, which when they launched, they put 150 plus, and then they say you come to the showroom, they'll offer it to you at 130 plus. But actually, if you go to a showroom now, 120 plus, you get an XV. So it's just weird. I do not really like what they are doing currently with their pricing, but in certain way, it is a vague pricing strategy. You do not know what price they're selling, except walking into the showroom. But would that deter people walking into the showroom? Maybe. Alright, so let's have a look inside. And coming into the car, you get keyless entry, keyless push start, you get a power tailgate. Now when it comes to spec sheet, this car is pretty up there in the spec sheet, because you have power tailgate, you have Bluetooth, you have navigation, you have reverse camera, you have all those things, you have 4-wheel drive. It's very easy for the salesman to just tell people customers by specs. So it's not difficult for the salesman to persuade them. But as we're gonna find out later, let me show you the reverse camera first. Then you know what we're talking about. Okay, I'm gonna try and drive up now and move around by going reverse, and you can see whether this car, the reverse camera, the alignment and all that, is it okay or not. Okay, first of all, we need our seat belts. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, now be intrigued. Okay, so do you notice something? However, the lines work. Okay, maybe I can reverse up to the city. There, wait. First of all, the lines do not correspond with my steering movement, and now not many cars in this segment has those indicator lines that correspond with steering movement. But in terms of how accurate it shows, it doesn't. Look at this, the reverse camera, the lines, they are not properly aligned. They are not calibrated to best represent. So I don't know, man. Alright, so let's walk around the interior. I do like the turning circle. The turning circle is fantastic. I think it has the smallest turning circle in this segment, which in terms of maneuvering should be easy. But then the steering isn't a fast one. That means you need to do a lot of steering motion. Okay, let's quickly go through the interior. You can put large bottles and all that here because of the way it's molded. I love this. I love all cars with this. Very comfortable. No full-length door bin. This is alright, not padded, but it sort of drops slowly, which is okay. This compartment is really good, but somehow there are no USB ports here, and this is weirdly blocked off. This chunk here, I don't think there's anything behind except the 12 volt. And it's padded. No, it's not padded. It's a plastic. No, yeah, it's padded. Okay, it's padded there. The X mode is here. When you go off-road, you can activate it. But it's also in 4-wheel drive anyway. And then cup holders, like all Subarus, you can remove this and find a place to put it. They didn't change the design. Coin holders, and yeah, 2 USB ports in there. This doesn't go down, so if you're a rear passenger, you want to put up your USB ports, you need a bit of a yoga movement to go over this, to operate that. The steering wheel looks pretty high-tech. This changes the source of input for that. This I'm going to show later. And then you have the telephony, and then this guy changes the mapping for the transmission and how the car behaves. There is a significant difference, but very artificial as well, especially how they make the steering wheel heavier, a lot heavier. In terms of ergonomics, it's perfect because Subaru never changed their formula for almost 18 years. Okay, the whole layout is there, it's still there, it's still the same layout, and it sort of works. This somehow feels rather good quality. Okay, now let's go to the back. Oh, memory seat settings are here for the driver. The seats are not very supportive. As I mentioned earlier on, you see these bolsters here, but this is super firm. That means when I sit, it doesn't sink in a little bit to cocoon my big R's. It is rather flat. Okay, there are some sport pedals. So let's come to the back. When you come to the back, it's pretty spacious because look at my thighs. This is not a full-length bench, so it creates the sensation that this is very spacious. There are no rear aircon vents, but to me this is a no issue. Like I mentioned, any 5-seater car, I have no problem whether they have rear aircon vents or not, because but of course this one, the way it is molded, if it has aircon vents here, it will be pretty good because this is faced rather upright, and rather tall. Okay, there's a center tunnel here, but I think this is one of the best that I've seen for a car that has full-time four-wheel drive, because this car doesn't have a very long wheelbase. I think the wheelbase is not even 2.8 meters, but you look at where the seat rails ended, where my size 11 feet can be fitted between them. So for a four-wheel drive car, in terms of the height of the center tunnel, is very, very acceptable. It's not intrusive at all, and European car makers should learn. European cars where they have that huge is nonsense. Okay, the door bins at the back put large bottles as well, not full length, but it's all right. And you have all-round airbags, as you can see. And in terms of the seats, the middle one really bulges up, so it's not very comfortable for the middle passenger. This is alright. Nothing much to shout. Like I said, even the Cayenne one is like this now. 40-60 split. Oh, this is really old school. Does it recline? Nope, just one level. I'm sure it's only one level. Yep, it doesn't recline. Okay, that's all it does. And that's the third, the middle seat belt. You have to pull this down here. Okay, this one will go to this, and then you treat it like a normal seat belt. Alright, so there are isofix mount points here. The leather feels really soft, and I don't mean soft as in plush, as in high quality, but I mean it doesn't feel like real leather. Okay, it really doesn't feel like real leather. Even the stitching is horrible, to say the least. They don't align. Let's go to the back. It has a power tailgate that is super duper slow. The tailgate is very small. Look at the tailgate, it's very tiny. So I would rather this car to not have a power tailgate, because if it is this size, it's lightweight anyway. Look at the struts, they're huge. So if this car doesn't have a power tailgate, I would be happier. Okay, it's alright. Very good. Like all Subarus, you can pop this up. See this space? And what it does is that it allows you to store the tonneau cover. You can take out the tonneau cover, lift this up. It doesn't have that hook. All Subarus have a hook that hooks up here, but this one doesn't have it. They mounted the wheels slanted. They mounted it slanted so that you can put the tonneau cover running across and hide it inside this. There's a bit of a step here because the wheels are slanted up. Is the boot huge? The boot is really tiny actually compared to its segment. Because of the raised floor, it's already not very deep, because this car is, yeah, it's actually very small compared to its segment. The boot is not big at all. It cannot match the others. It cannot match the others when it comes to boot space. Okay, and this thing, they didn't change this design. They never change it for a good 17-18 years. I have an old legacy. It employs this solution as well. Okay, and yeah, a very, very tiny boot, but usable nonetheless, and unnecessarily powered, which, I mean, is powered anyway, so this is another selling point. Yeah, that's the walk around. Very slow tailgate. It's a good looking car. It's just that it really reminds you of 10-15 years ago. Alright, let's go for the drive. Now, in terms of how the car drives, the initial throttle response, like all Japanese cars who try to attract people who walk into showrooms, is very immediate. Ooh, you see, when you're on a standstill, you tap the throttle. Whoa, the car feels like it's already on point, you know. It's awakened. I'm currently in the SI. In terms of the SI drive, I'm in the comfort setting. Let me switch it to the performance setting. Okay, it shows a different torque curve and it makes the steering wheel heavier, and by right it should be more aggressive for its throttle response and its transmission shifting. I do that because this is a CVT, continuously variable transmission, and they actually do not have gears. It's just one gear. What is this grandmother doing? Thank you. Oh, it's a very young grandfather. A young man driving like this. Wow. He's a young man. But he sits like that. When the airbags blow, he's gonna have his head blow off. And he's driving an old Honda City, the one with the Takata airbags, I presume. Anyway, so how the car responds. I mean, for a 2-liter naturally aspirated engine to have this kind of brisk performance, it's rather okay. Like I mentioned earlier on in other Subaru videos, Subaru makes some of the best CVTs. I hate CVTs, everybody hates CVTs, but amongst the hatred, Subaru CVTs are the least hated ones because it's rather sweet. Their CVTs are rather alright. They hold their gears well, and the way they map their transmission, pretty good. It is a CVT that I hate least. In terms of pliancy, because of the wheels this car is fitted with, 17-inch super high profile tires, right? And by default the suspension isn't poor anyway. This car can fly over speed bumps comfortably, and is very pliant, and it has underneath, it has a chassis that is it is a company that knows a thing or two about making the cars handle well. So even though it feels a bit roly-poly because it is soft in its setup, but it is not a car that gets unsettled and sends you into a fear of, oh, what am I doing, you know? No. It is a car that can handle what you throw at it. And wow, the suspension is excellent. It is excellent. But you feel that roly-poly thingy constantly. You feel it constantly. When you throw the car into a corner, it's alright. It feels so pliant, mainly because of how the suspension and the tires both working together is very nice. Okay, the systems are just now. The systems kick in to assist the car so that I don't go into uncontrollable understeer. Just now, as I turn suddenly like that, obviously these tires are not super duper sticky. These are the old MC5s, and the new ones is fantastic, but these are the old ones. And just now you can feel, as I was making a very tight turn, the car sends the EBD, the electronic brake distribution, to almost, I don't know what is that, but basically it's ABS, EBD, whatever, traction. All the systems felt that they have to machine gun the brakes of the inner front wheel. As I was throwing the car in just now, what it does is that it machine guns the brake on this inner front wheel. It allows the outer wheel to rotate the car so that I don't go into an uncontrollable understeer and crash into the trees in front just now. Alright, so this car is rather enjoyable to drive. It might not have the best interior. In fact, the interior fit and finish in modern standards is pretty underwhelming, to say the least. But there are redeeming aspects of this car. Just like how I said, Subarus, they are mechanically premium. They give you an excellent undercarriage, suspension arms and all that, so that the car is hard wearing, but they then save the cost on the interior. So a lot of car makers, they spend money on the interior and then they Perodo us. Wherever you go, they are there. They are just there ahead of you, minding their own business. So not bad. It's really not bad, and I'm surprised with the pliancy of the suspension. You hear that? You hear what the car is doing just now? It is machine gunning the inner wheel and then to rotate me around. It's a very, very good and safe way for the system to come in to control, keep the car in a controllable manner. So that is really good, right? And not bad. Look at how it took that, it absorbs it back down. So not bad, man. This guy is made for off-roading, comfortable and chuckable. Now, just now that corner at that kind of speed, it's not actually super fast. Will other SUVs be able to take that just now like that? Actually, others could. Because I tested so many mid-size SUVs in this recent period, right? The CX-5 and the motorcycle was running the red lights. He was coming, speeding up from behind, trying to see he's gonna come through the middle or the left, and I have to shift my car to open up a wider space for him to decide to go from the left to raise the red traffic light in a manner that is safer for all of us. Anyway, yeah, that's how this car is. Unassuming from the outside, some people might like it. Interior build is alright, but super duper old school, zero premium feel, a lot of specs on paper. This thing is not good, and the transmission is whiny because it's a CVT. And if you are an aggressive driver, see what the transmission is doing? If you're an aggressive driver, CVTs will give you super duper high fuel consumption. Yeah. But if you drive smoothly, they're fantastic. Alright, I guess that's about it. That's the Subaru Forester. How do I rate this car amongst the others? Provided you really stay in places where you have rubbish roads and all that, right? I think this car's appeal cannot be compared to the others. Yeah, it has everything on paper. But to spend 140,000 ringgit at this time and age, where the competition, the challengers, others have moved on so far ahead, and the redeeming factors that this car has is no longer something that is unique to Subaru only. Back then, you can say Subaru cars drive well. Now even Hyundais handle well. All of them handle really well. Hyundais and Kias. So what makes a car that handles well you know, surprising. Moreover, this car, because of the suspension setup and the tires and all that, right, it is only those who are slightly above amateur drivers, you know, enthusiast drivers, will dare to throw the car into a fast corner to see the underlying hidden merits of this car's suspension setup. For if not, if you are a normal driver, you come up this car, your first thing will be like, oh, I'm not gonna throw this car into a corner. It is scary because it rolls around. See, that's how it is. So in terms of immediate, if you step into the car and you drive, the one that gives you a smile, the Tiguan will give you a smile, the CX-5 will give you a smile, the 3008 will give you a smile. Even the new Honda CR-V, it doesn't handle bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't do anything wrong. It's just that its talents are not wide enough. The spectrum of what it is good at is not wide enough. There may be certain aspects where this car is pretty good, but other than that, it sort of neglects everything else that appeals to a modern car buyer. And provided I'm a Subaru hardcore fan, which I was, I love Subarus but not blindly. Except the fact that this car on paper gives you everything for the price, and of course some people like how it looks. Okay, cheers. Now another thing I want to show you is that, you know, when I review Audis, I really like the fact that they do not click lock their armrest. So they have a mechanism at the hinge whereby it stays where you left it to be, and then it serves as a cover. It also serves as an expansion when you have things that juts out and you can still put your arm here. So this guy doesn't have a click lock system as well, but the hinge is slightly flimsy and it doesn't hold still when it covers. So it does that. It might be an isolated case of this particular car, which is a media unit. So this car has gone 10,000 miles km. So if you are buying a Forester, do check the unit that you are getting. Does it do this? Because I believe this will be rather annoying in a long journey of 7 years when you pay your installment.